Welcome. Today we're going to talk about different frameworks to help you understand what's really going on platforms like Instagram and how you can sell digital products on YouTube and actually have more trust with your audiences. The consequence container. People don't change when they feel seen, they change when they are forced to follow a thought to its conclusion. YouTube allows you to do this. It's long form, which creates temporal commitment. It stays mean. Excuse me. Staying means accepting implication. Leaving means consciously opting out. Short form platforms allow agreement without action, resonance without responsibility, and validation without consequence. YouTube forces a difference in how you are showing up. That's why it offers convert here a little bit better. Authorship visibility versus identity visibility. So people on Instagram are operating in an identity container. People on YouTube are operating in more of an authority container because you are talking to the market, you are talking to businesses, you are able to speak directly to your avatar in long form, and that's what is going to build trust over the next decade. It is not something that is going to go away, but it is something that will allow your thoughts to cohesively expand over time if you use the container. YouTube lets thinking unfold in sequence so you can see the progression. Instagram, you can use as a distribution channel so you can bring offers that you built and you can place them there and then you can point up to YouTube. So YouTube, Instagram, Facebook Business are all connected. That is the goal. Short form can show people who you are. YouTube can show people how you think. And it's really difficult for people to see this because when they're operating on platforms like Instagram, they can't get up to YouTube. But if they start operating on YouTube, then they can move everything downstream. Delayed distribution beats viral distribution. So the highest value buyers are not online reacting, they're offline deciding. And in 2026, quiet buyers avoid comment sections, they search when they're stuck, and they return when creators they've watched silently make sense. YouTube is a search platform, so it's search and resurfacing. Old videos are going to convert for you, and authority is going to accumulate while you're inactive. Short form distribution is fast, noisy, forgettable, and YouTube is slow, precise compounding. If you are building something and you are feeling like you're fragmenting yourself by being on short form platforms, that is by design and it's not your fault. And once you take time off of them, then you can come back and you can just place things there. But building offline is key, so you can come back with clarity. Validation loops and decision loops. Most platforms reward posting, businesses reward decision, structural differences. Instagram closes the loop emotionally, and YouTube opens the loop cognitively. Instagram is post, feedback, relief. YouTube is watch, think, return, decide. Selling requires the second loop. So if I was to give you data about the experiments that I have been doing on the platforms of coming and going, changing where I was showing up, the biggest lesson I can say is not only did I learn how to speak to my target avatar, but I did learn that the platforms pull you. So if you were a particular identity maybe 5 years ago, like for me, I was a hula hooper, but you are a different identity now, you are an entrepreneur, the platform and people are still going to see you as that until you create new visuals, create new offers, create proof that you are in the new identity now. Tool saturation, context scarcity. By 2026, everybody has tools and everyone has funnels, links, AI, and automation. What they need is signal clarity because almost nobody has clear reasoning, system explanation, placement guidance. YouTube is the only place where context survives and the only place where systems can be taught end to end. It's the only place where tools dominate the message. Identity exit is required for scale. Artists, creators, and performers get stuck because identity is tied to output. Energy is consumed by presence, and selling feels like self-betrayal. But what if you just started selling on YouTube? Separate the person from the system, allow distance, turn knowledge into a transferable asset. So I come from the art and the performance world, and I am highlighting them front and center because I know that I can help them. So if you come from that world and you already post on platforms like Instagram and say you have a Patreon, now with the course that I just created, Beats to Beacons, you can tap into the rhythm of building wealth with your own offers. And where I suggest you place those offers is very important. I suggest you place them off Instagram and place them on YouTube because that is where people are going to orient around you as an entity, as a person. So they will see you through SEO from a larger frame. So you are the artist, the creator, the performer, right? And some people have told me, oh, well, I use YouTube as marketing for my work. That's okay. You can actually create a separate YouTube channel for your teaching as well. And why I recommend this as opposed to a separate channel on Instagram is very simple. It's because you can't orient people around an environment that is entertainment and circus. You orient people around an environment where they're oriented. When you teach workshops in person, you have a safe environment, it's quiet, and people know the rules and they're there to adhere by the rules and learn from you. And most importantly, learn things like fire safety, learn things like character acting. And it's not just play, it's more serious because it's a structured workshop. So when you create these structured workshops, you can actually do this on YouTube. So you can speak to your target audience, and this is my vision. You can speak to your target audience and you can say, this is a container for people that want to learn this trick or learn this movement. And you can have a separate account for your teaching, and then you can place the offers inside YouTube itself. You can place them in your bio. You can place them under your comments. So that way there's this orientation layer, but then there's this continuation where people can actively see your videos and they can come search for them and they can watch them over and over. The platform is like a flywheel. It works for you while you sleep. Whereas Instagram, and this is what people tend to forget, because once you go back there, you're already kind of in the loops that you forget what the other loops are like. They are significantly different. And on Instagram, it's faster and it's more performance based. You're going to not get as many likes there if you are a serious distributor of intellectual property, and that's just by design. But people that already expect that type of information there know where to look and know where to find it, and those people do make a lot of money. But you have to know where to look and you have to know what you're looking for to find it. YouTube creates this congruence where you can be able to be seen by your fans, if you will, more in the next decade, like consistently as an entity, as a presence. So for me, I'm no longer going to be a performer. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. So I am one, and I aspire to build a really big business, like $10 million business. Like, who knows? But I knew that if that is the direction I'm going, I can't be operating with the same visuals, frameworks, identity. So I have to move. But what I can do instead is I can teach and show you on this platform how you can move differently so you can expand and tap into the rhythm of generating wealth through the identity that you choose and the service that you choose to provide based on your life experience. You don't want to talk to everyone. You want people at the same structural moment, and YouTube is going to self-select people as serious. They're going to consent to learn, whereas on Instagram, people are not consenting to learn from you. And sometimes, myself included, what happens is you'll change accounts and you'll talk to people and you'll see people in your feed that are at a high level and you feel good being connected to them, but you haven't proven yourself yet. And you're also not really, like, your buyers are not finding you there. the way you think they are. What they're really looking for is congruence across all of the platforms, and this is the main goal for anybody. If you're an artist, entrepreneur, a coach, if you have congruence across all platforms, that is what creates trust. And if you are indexable and you have published assets and you are searchable by AI, that is going to create the ultimate trust. So for me, I had a hard time because I wanted to turn off platforms, not because I wanted to erase myself, but because they were so distracting for where I was going that I couldn't even signal direction. So I stayed safe in building assets offline and not shipping anything. And then I learned the power of shipping. When you actually ship something and you start to move, not only are you signaling to the market what you have learned and you're creating movement for other people, you're also creating safety and awareness and understanding for yourself that you can do that. And once you do it one time, you can do it again and again and again. Instagram attracts identity seekers, YouTube attracts solution seekers, so problem solution content. The market was trained to shift to problem solution content on Instagram. That's valid, but there can be a trap there because if there's not congruence across all of the platforms, we're just going to be stuck in the noise. And you don't want to be screaming at the circus. You want to be self-selected and found in the library, hence the term founder. You want to be found. That's how I found my first mentor on this very platform on YouTube. I searched intentionally for the problem that I had. I did not find them in proximity loops. And this is what people need to do. They need to think about buyer psychology from the perspective of what they would do. And if they wouldn't do it, why would it make sense for their audience to do it? What people want is congruence. You are who you say you are, you do what you say you do, and everything is in alignment. And you know if you're not in alignment because you're trying to hold on to too many identities. You have to choose. You have to pick one and you have to go with it. I'm not saying you can't be multidimensional, but I'm saying these platforms are not forgiving when it comes to trust and building trust, especially if you're trying to sell on them. So this course, Beats to Beacons, is to help affiliate marketers see from a higher perspective, from an artist lens, what I see and how trust is kind of built through visuals, through identity, through frameworks, through offers and problem solution content, and where you should be speaking about problem solution content. Because once you do that, once you anchor 1 to 2 YouTube videos, everything else starts to work for you because you're creating movement. You're creating movement to contact. You're not just building offline. Anytime I had an insight, I would put it into my book that I'm writing. I'd put it there and then it would come true in reality, or I'd have something happen a month later and I would have the proof of, okay, I wrote this down and it came true. So when you document the journey through intellectual property, something profound happens. You realize that you are not only the creator, but you're the author and the architect of your reality. And when you build off of platforms and you start speaking on YouTube, you start to gain so much more clarity because there's no competition. At the end of the day, you realize it's you versus you. And it's just you and that person on the other side of the screen that you have the ability to help. And there were so many blockages for me for being able to do this. And now the only thing that was standing in my way was a tool that wasn't working. Okay, I got another tool and now it is working. And there's no excuses anymore. There's no excuses to show up every day from 20 to 60 minutes like my mentor and just start talking and see what happens, because over time people are going to understand where you're coming from. You're going to get better at communicating because you're putting in the reps. People are not watching you as much as you think they are, and that's what performance trains us to think. We think that people are watching us so much that we try to perfect everything that comes through, but then that blocks momentum, it blocks clarity, and it creates internal pain. We do not want that. YouTube isn't a growth strategy, a contact tactic, a personal brand play like Instagram. It forces consequence, reveals authorship, compounds over time, and filters for readiness, protects the operator, and converts without persuasion. That's why Beats to Beacons requires YouTube upstream, because this course is one of many digital tools that I could have picked any digital tool to teach you, and you could go learn any digital tool. But what I'm offering you is not how to. I'm offering how I, because this is how I would frame and I would create a presence for people to recognize me and see clearly what I have to offer. And more importantly, not feel this sense of validation, which is what a lot of people get trapped in, is this phase of, I learned how to use the tool and I put things together and then I put it on my bio and I'm all set. I'm so excited. Look what I did. Okay, but that doesn't make sense, because nobody at the circus is going to care that you have a tool with a bunch of links. Where they're going to listen is if you are talking directly to them on a long form platform, sharing your story, sharing your why, saying how you got here, saying how you were able to master this trick, this practice, this thing. Maybe you got in an accident. Maybe it took you 5 years to perfect this trick. Maybe it took you a really long time to stop performing at festivals and now you are operating with your own business and you do performance on the side. Whatever your story is, YouTube is the most powerful place that you can say it. And not many artists that I have met are doing that. So don't keep yourself in a box. I know you love that phrase. Expand. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's extremely uncomfortable to expand and step into a new role, platform, anything. And the reason I realized that people could hear me is because they moved. Because when you're leading and you're not performing, people move, but they don't talk to you and they don't comment and they don't like. They just try to keep up. I haven't been a performer for a long time. I've been studying from entrepreneurs. But because my bank account didn't show it yet, I fell back into old habits, because that's what happens. We fall back into old habits because we don't have the proof yet. But if you take small steps in a new direction and you validate every step and you see just maybe 1 or 2 hints of proof, but you know that this is in alignment with where you're going because you've seen it work for other people, you've had mentors and guides that are teaching you, you know that they're making thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know that it is possible. So the only thing that is required of you is to take that small step forward. And it sounds counterintuitive, but it's a lot like practicing with flow arts and props. When you master a new trick, rhythm, skill, timing, and direction, it's going to feel a little bit backwards at first. Like, why would I do that? That doesn't matter to me. But it's really just subconscious conditioning. Like, we practice something thousands of times, hundreds of times, and it becomes repetitive. But that's the trap. So to break that and expand, take 1 or 2 steps to YouTube and speak. You'll be surprised what happens once you do. And if you're scared to do that, use your imagination. You don't even have to post the video. You can use a tool like Loom. This tool that I'm using right now is Dadan, D-A-D-A-N. I just found it. Works great. There are thousands of tools. Stop acting like you need a particular tool. What you are actually buying is the lens from the person that you are learning from. Same with AI bots. Same with methods. You're buying their brain. You're buying a shortcut. You're buying their lens. So tools are everywhere. Life experience, shortcuts, frames, lenses, those are not things that you can just Google because that person has lived and walked that path. And I have lived and walked the path of being around many people that are in a world, but maybe they don't know why, because it gives them a sense of validation. And at least if you're going to be in that world, learn how to operate in it, learn how to run it. Learn how to make money with it because you can. You absolutely can. And I'm going to show you how.